Okay, so to present myself, my name is Resco. I'm support manager here at Resco. I'm a member of Resco for about 13 years, and I believe that you maybe partially know me, maybe in person or at least via emails. If not, let's start. Just let me know. Just send me an email or join Resco Next or any other conference that will be hopefully opened soon. This webinar will be about mobile reports, so how to create reports, how to use them, and what it is as well. So first of all, let's start with a simple poll or question. Let me know if you know what the mobile reports are for, basically. If you have any idea, if it's supposed to be a tool to report issues to authorities, or to export certain CRM data records to a structured form to have it in hand, or to send bug reports to Resco, or even if you don't care and you just want to sit down and drink a beer and have some time for yourself, let me know as well. Or if it's none of the above, that's also an option. I will give you a couple more seconds to select the option, and hopefully I will be able to see your results anytime soon. So if you are still hesitating which one it is, just click on one of them and I will just tell you in a moment which one is the, the correct answer. Okay, so, well, you are kind of knowledgeable first people here. So yes, the right question is exporting CRM data to a structured form. So let's now start with the webinar itself and what is ahead of us. So first of all, I would like to tell you what is mobile report, how we at Resco understand what it is, and how we would like you to use it and understand our point. Then I would like to talk about what needs to be done before you can use it, and also how it works under the hood. Then I would like to go to specific elements of the mobile report, then some advanced use cases or usages, and then of course some demo or examples of how to create a report, how to add some advanced features, or how to use it at all. So first of all, what is mobile report? So as you correctly selected, it is a structured export of mobile data, so data that you have on your device in mobile Resco mobile CRM application. You have it on the go, so it's mobile. You can use it on any platform, so iOS, Android, or Windows. And it can be exported, or you can create a document in PDF, Word, Excel, or HTML format. For the use cases, for example, PDF is ideal if you want to export some portion of your data and send it to a customer for verification or to have some information about, let's say, an order. HTML can be, for example, used for further adjustment, parsing, or adjusting the data that will be exported. And of course, Word and Excel, if you want to give the user or customer some further possibility to adjust the data by themselves in dedicated application, so they can edit it. When it comes to prerequisites, so what needs to be done before you can actually start using the mobile reports, you need to have Woodford solution imported into Dynamics CRM or connected to Salesforce or using Resco Cloud where Woodford is integrated directly. Then you need to go to the mobile report designer and create a report, at least one of course, and then you need to enable run mobile report command in the mobile project. So to customize the mobile CRM application to actually know about some kind of report, to give the user opportunity to run a command to run the report. You can add it on a view or on a form. We'll get to more later on. So for Dynamics, of course, you need to go to settings, find the mobile CRM section, and then there is the mobile reports button that launches the report designer. For Resco Cloud, you just need to log in as an administrator, and right on the home, you can access the reports that is down at the bottom in violet section in the middle, or on the left side in tools and settings, go to reports. For Salesforce, you need to log into the Resco interface for Salesforce. So using Salesforce RescoNet as a URL, log into your Salesforce instance, and there you can access this kind of screen where the mobile report editor is at the bottom. So how it works under the hood. Basically, all reports are saved in mobile report entity, Resco mobile report. These reports are stored as CRM records. So it's not any metadata, it's basically CRM records, so entity records. And the main body, the main report is saved as an XML file in a body field of this entity. Since it is a record, it can be accessed for all projects. So you can have the same report for any project that your users are using. If you want to specify it somehow, you can use sync filter for the names of the reports, or you can use specific commands, so that not just like general run mobile report command, but you can also specify which mobile report will be accessible as a separate button or command. It is also possible to condition when or which command will be available to a user at a certain point of time. Of course, you can also use role permissions to disable access to this entity, and users without the access will not see any of the mobile reports at all. There is also an opportunity to choose a language for a mobile report. So if you want to have a localized version of a report or a language mutation of a report, you can specify for which language the specific report is designed to. So for example, using constant fields or constant text in a certain language, and design or define this report to a certain language. It works the way that if user in the mobile CRM application setup selects the language that he uses, he will only see the reports that are set for this language. It is also possible to use, let's say, language or without the language, so that it will be available. This report will be available for all languages that are available for the mobile application. When it comes to the command, it is possible to use the general run mobile report command, which launches some kind of a lookup where user can choose which report he wants to run. Or it is possible to add multiple or one run mobile report command with a specific report, so that the user will see a command with the mobile report's name as a command name and can launch this report directly. This run mobile report command can be added to to a view or to a form. It is also possible to use different sources for the mobile report. So it can be a single record, like for example, an account, where you can create an overview of an account or an order, an overview of an order. Or it can be a list of records. This list of records means that user can multi-select more than one record in a view and run mobile report for these selected records, or to select all of available records in a view and run the report for all of them. Or it is possible to define a mobile report for both of these scenarios, so that you can have one report for a single record or for multiple records at the same time. When it comes to the data source, I mean what data is used for the creation of the report. For example, in the online mode, if a user makes a change to a record and wants to run a report, he needs to save the changes, to have them applied or saved on the CRM server side, and then run the mobile report, because he's using data source directly from the CRM server. So the report engine is fetching all the data from the CRM server directly. The online mode is also ideal for development of mobile reports, because as I said, it's a record. So if you make a change in the report designer and save it, it is directly saved on the CRM. So once you are in online mode in mobile application and want to run this report, so how it looks like, how you made the changes, you don't need to synchronize. You just run the report again. It will fetch the latest version of the report and run it on your data on the CRM. So you can basically make changes to the record itself and also to the mobile report in Report Designer and see the changes affected immediately. Of course, it is possible to run a mobile report in offline mode as well. In this case, the mobile report and the CRM data is fetched directly from the local database. And in this case, of course, it is much faster because you are outing the need to fetch the records from an online environment. When it comes to report elements, there are basically three main changes, three main parts under the report's body. Is the header, is the grid or other elements, and a footer. Header and footer are elements that are repeated on each new page of a report. So if you have a report that has more data in it and it will extend to a next page, the header and footer will be always displayed on each next page. Grid or repeaters or other elements that we will talk about are those where you are actually placing the data, the information that you want to display to user. When it comes to a grid, it is basically, as I said, a main element where you place records. Grid is because it has rows and columns, basically unlimited number of rows, unlimited number of columns, where you can define height and width of each, call them cells, in the grid. It can be a specific size in pixels, or it can be an asterisk where it uses all the available space. I will of course show this in the examples as well. In this grid or in these cells, you can place field values, you can add static text, so you can write anything that you want, like placeholders or some information about what is in the column or what is in the row in the grid. You can also add images, and you can also add signatures in the grid as well. Another item is called repeater. You can define a source of the repeater, so basically an entity, and a filter or a fetch that defines what data will be downloaded or placed to the report. And this repeater is specific in the way that if there is more than one record that follows the filter of the source, it will automatically increment and place on the report all the records that follow that filter. So not only one record, but all that are available. For example, associated records to a record that you are on the report directly. Then we have a specific grid called parent grid, where you specify a lookup to a parent entity. For example, if you're running a report on a contact record, you can also add some information from its parent account, for example, address or some contact information. This parent grid automatically creates the source, the fetch to that parent entity, and you can then add fields from this parent entity to any grid on the whole report, on the whole body. I already mentioned something like a child repeater. This is a specific form of a repeater where you define a lookup from the child entity to the one where the report is being running on. So in this case, for example, if you're running a report on an account, you can specify a lookup on, for example, opportunity or order entity and have all the associated records listed on the report itself. Again, it automatically creates the source with the needed filter, and there is one specification that you can only add fields from this child entity only to this defined child repeater. So if you place them outside, the report generator will not know for which of the child it should place the value to a non-repeater part. So basically, it will throw an error when you try to save it. So this is not allowed. Then there is a specific parameter for each element. So for all the grids, for all the repeaters, and also for the cells themselves. So so basically one specific field or static value. When you can hide or show the value of that cell. So the cell can be hidden or it can be shown to the user or added to the report. This is useful if you want to specify, for example, if that value, if that field has a value, you want to show it on the report. If it doesn't have a value, the space should not be used. For this, we just enter a name of the field for that visible parameter of a cell or other element. And it is also possible to use variables. So you can add some more custom logic or some more advanced logic to define what of the, more advanced logic to define whether that item will be shown or not, under what conditions or circumstances. We will get to this later. And I can see that I have a mistake in my curly brackets, so that should be both sides, of course. I will fix it in the presentation afterwards. How it works basically is that if the field or variable or whatever you place in the curly brackets in the visible parameter, if it has a value, so if there is a string or if it has a number or a Boolean value 1 or yes, then that particular item will be displayed on the form. If that field or variable or other element in the visible does not have a value or has a value 0, then this item will not be shown in the report. Then, similarly to the visible parameter, there is a break. break is again for each element, and basically it means that if that element, for example a grid or a repeater, will exceed to a next page, so if there is more items and one of the latest will be your grid, and you don't want to have it on two pages, like 2 lines of the grid on one page and then another 2 or 3 lines of the next one, you want to have it as a whole because it makes sense as a whole. You can check the break parameter, and it will make sure that the whole item will be moved to a next page, so it will be shown as a whole. Okay, we can move to variables. And I would like to start with some simple variable information. What you can do with simple variables is you can perform calculations, so mathematical calculations. You can define numbering for your items in repeaters. You can define visibility of items, so whether it will be shown or not. These simple variables are defined as string, decimal, boolean, or date and time types, and each of them has a so-called onCreate rule. So when the variable is created, so when the generator starts and created, there is a rule that will be executed. It is similar to, for example, forum rules. These variables can be defined on the body, so it will be basically created when the report is being generated, or it can be, for example, also defined for a repeater. So the onCreate rule basically runs for each of the element in the repeater. So if you have 10 associated records, for example, in a repeater, or 10 records in repeater, the rule will be executed 10 times. So you can imagine what are the possibilities. If not, we will get to them. Then there are some complex variables. You can define fetch result. So basically, a fetch that will load a single record based on your parameters, based on your filters. For example, if you create a report for a single value, single record, it will automatically create a fetch result for that specific entity, so that when you run the report on one particular account, for example, it will load these records values. So you can also create your own custom fetches or fetch results, and, for example, load some other records that you want to show on a specific report. Then you can define fetch table. The fetch table is usually used to optimize the fetch result aggregation. So basically, you can aggregate data also for a single record fetch result, but it can create a huge load on the CRM server or on the local database if you are running it over a large amount of records or some more complex conditions. Fetch table is a key value pair, so you define a key for a table and values that are associated to this key. So you can have multiple rows, so each row for one specific record that will be fetched using the fetch table condition. Then a fetch table lookup is designed to get a specific record or specific result from the fetch table. So to access values from the fetch table, you can define which row of the table will be used and which value for that specific key value pair will be added to the report. If you want to know more about these two options, I would like to point you to our wiki, where you can see or you can find more information about it, and also example how to use it for a specific use case. Now I'd like to talk more about styles. Styles are basically designed to display the data in some more readable form or to more appealing form, so they can create your reports appealing to user or to customers that will receive them, or to be more comprehensive. Basically, in style, you can define, for example, font parameters, so text color, or make it transparent, of course, if you want to. You can specify a font name if you want to use a custom font. This custom font needs to be uploaded into offline HTML part of a project. So if you have multiple projects, you need to make sure that this particular font is uploaded to each of the projects that should use that particular report. You can define, of course, the font size and the font weight. Then you can also define a border of a cell. So basically define a color of the border or make it transparent if you don't want to use it. And also the width size of the border for all four, let's say, borders of a cell, left, top, right, and bottom. So you can have different sizes for each of the size here. Then we have option to define padding. So this is a spacing from the cell edge inside of the cell itself. So if you don't want to have a text right on the left and right border of a cell, you can define padding to make it more inside the cell itself. Again, you can define padding from all four sides. The margin is, on the other hand, spacing the cell from the next cell or from the right or left side of the report itself. You can also make it visible for different background color, and you can define, or it is, if you want to check how it works, you can define a different background color, and you can see it yourself in the visualization of the style. And again, you can define it for all four sides as well. Other options for the style are, of course, the name of the style. You can also define the background color or use the transparent checkbox if you don't want to have a background of a cell. And also you can define a horizontal or vertical alignment of the text inside the cell. Now I would like to talk about images, or the possibilities that you have with images on the report. First of all, or the most simple, is the static image. So if you want to have the same image on each report on each report or each files that are generated from the same report. For example, like a logo on the header, you can use a picture that you have in the offline HTML section in the project. So you can either make sure that you have the same image on all projects that you use, or you can use different images with the same name on different projects and have different logos for one report. Then it is possible to use dynamic images. In this case, you can use an image from a related attachment entity, for example, from a node or a cloud document, and have different image for different records. For example, you can use a contact image, so an image of a contact that you have on your CRM in, let's say, a contact overview report, so information about the contact and his picture. So each record will have a different image, of course. Or you can use it for adding a signature image to a report. So, for example, you can add, for example, technician's signature directly on the report so that the tech person don't have to sign each report separately. And when talking about signatures, let's talk about what are the possibilities here as well. So as I was saying, first of all, you can use an image as a signature. In this case, you need to create that image before you want to run the report, because the report will fetch it from the record, node or cloud document that is associated. And for this, I will recommend to use Media tab, because you can define a specific subject or title of a node or cloud document that will be created for that particular image. And you can then relay on it when you will be creating a fetch for that signature image, so that you can define not only reference to the record where you are running the report, so to make sure that it will load only that associated node or cloud record, cloud document record, but also you can make sure if you have more pictures associated with the record that the report will only pick that one specific subject or title of a node or cloud document. Other option, basically the latest addition to the report designer, is so-called enhanced signature, where you are still creating an image of a signature, but you are creating it after the report is generated. So basically, if you want to have the customer sign some report and he wants to see what he's signing, then this is the option for you. So basically, you first run the report, you will see the document that is generated, and user will sign a specific signature area, and then the signature will be added to the report that was generated. In this case, you can only create one enhanced signature for a record. So if you want to sign a specific order, the user's or the customer's signature will be recorded once, and you can then create more iterations of that report. But of course, you can change the signature as well, but only one signature can be saved for that specific record at the time and used on the report. Then it is possible to use legally accepted signatures using providers like DocuSign, Universign. This signature can only be generated when the device has connection to the internet, because the signature services needs to be contacted, for example, for SMS verification or sending the generated report to the customer or signee directly, and also to record the timestamp. So to have it really legally accepted, there needs to be an exact time when that document or report was signed by one or both sides. Okay, now let's go to some advanced theory, and that is the conditional command. So as I was saying, you can add the run mobile report command to, for example, to a form. And if you are familiar with onCanExecute, a rule for a command, then you can use this onCanExecute rule to specify when the generic or the specific or special run mobile report command will be available to user. If you are using the generic one, you can only need to use the run mobile report name. If you want to use or hide or show the specific or special run mobile report for a specific report, you need to add the GUID of the report, so of the record of a report, as an additional condition in a parent string. We will get to that later, of course, as well. Also, it is possible to localize a command. So if you want to show different localizations for different languages, this is a way to go. or if you just want to make sure, or you want to use some specific characters that are not allowed to be used, then you can add a localization item where you add the report's name as an ID and the text to display to user as a value. This text then will be used in the report selector as well. So if you open a run mobile report lookup, you will see the localized name of a report there. And of course, you will see the localized name of a report in a specific reports command. And then it is also possible to use some advanced logic using JavaScript. Of course, if the onCanExecute is not enough and you want to use some more advanced logic to display or hide the command, then of course JavaScript is here for you. But you can also use JavaScript to automatically run the report when certain conditions are met, so without the user's interaction. Or you can create a custom command for a user that will not only run the report, but you can also add some additional actions, like you can directly save the report under certain specific name, or create an email and add it to an attachment directly, ready to be sent to the customer. Using JavaScript, you can also generate the XML, so basically the whole report. So you don't have to define it in the report designer, but you can just add the XML to an execution of JavaScript, or fetch the existing XML from a report and adjust it. So you can be really a dynamic report based on certain criteria. And one of the possibly used by mistake is that you can overlay cells one over another. So for example, if you want to have an option to choose which what different values will be shown on the report on one specific part, on one cell on the report, you can place more than one cell over each other, and for example define the visibility in a different way. So one will be visible when the other is empty, etc. Or you can use variable to define when one of the cells will be visible over another. Okay, enough of the theory. Let me give you one more poll. Oh, sorry. So have you ever come across mobile reports before? So yes, you are using it already, or you already did some report, but just for fun, or you tried and just need more information, or you have no idea and you are still sipping your beer. So I can see it's kind of like, yeah, most of you have seen it. But seems okay. So we will of course continue, but I have one more poll for you. And that is basically if you want more theory. But I think you can skip it and just go to examples, because I'm sure that none of you want more theory. So first example will be how to create a report, how to manage a command, and how to use the localization. So pretty simple ones. So let me close this one. And I hope you can see it. I'm on a report editor, and I have created a couple reports already for you. But first of all, I would like to, oh, why you can't see it? Now you can see my cheat sheet, and you should be seeing it right now. Okay. So as I said, I have couple reports created already. But first of all, I would like to create a new report so that you can see how it looks like. So if you click on new, you can specify for which entity you want the report to be created. Once you specify an entity and create a report, you can't change it because the base source will be created for that specific entity record, for the specific entity. So there is no possibility to change it afterwards. Then, as I said before, you have the option to choose for which language mutation you want that report to be created. In my case, I will stick to language neutral, so my reports will be available for all languages. And last option is source. So this is where you define whether that report will be available only for a single record or for a list of records, so more than one, or for both, so that you can so that you will define one report for single or a list of records at the same time. So I will start with a single record, and I will do that for my incidents. Here we are. So, and of course define a name. So my new incident report is created. As you can see, there is directly one field added to the grid. But what I want to do is to add more columns, more rows. You can do it from the toolbar, or you can do it directly from the line. So adding a new row or new column here directly. And you can also delete a column or delete a row from here as well. So first of all, I just want to show you how you can add specific items or fields. So you have on the left side, you have all the fields from that entity that is added as a source, in my case, the incident. So I can simply add a city or address, and you can also select and drag and drop. You can also add text. So you have a binding for static, so just like this. So you have binding type as a constant, and binding is the actual string that will be shown to a user. And really quickly, we can add a parent grid where you can define, for example, using the incident's customer ID, target account. I can add information from my incident's parent account. So we can see there is a name already. And as I was saying before, you don't need to use a specific grid. The parent grid is useful mainly to define the source, so that you don't have to create a source manually and specify the filter. But you can, of course, remove this grid afterwards. The source is there, so we have the account here. You can see that it's using the filter that will make sure that only the associated record, the associated record, parent record is used. And we can add the parent field directly to any grid on our report. So just basic orientation on the report designer. And I was also talking about the child repeater. So in this case, this is the opposite relation. So I'm now adding a lookup from my child entity. So I would like to add appointment. And you can see here that I can choose whether I want appointments associated using the regarding object ID for my incident or my account, because this is also my source on this report now when I edit the parent record. But I want the appointments from my incident, so I click here, and now you can see that there is a repeater created. And again, appointment name is added as a primary field. And now I can add more of my appointment information here. So, like this. You can, of course, add some text to the header. So it's my incident appointment. So I believe that this is pretty straightforward. I really don't want to save this report because it will look really, really horrible. So I'll just discard it, and we will later see some more fancy ones. But I also want to show you how it looks like when you create a list of records. But this time I will use both because it will look the same way. But just to show you that it's really working. Again, for my incident. And now you can see that the report is being created, but there is already a repeater inside. This repeater is the main logic or main body of this list of records or both type of report, because this is the part that will be repeated for all the records that you select to be used in the report. So you can use the header to add some text like list of incidents. And for example, the header on the repeater directly will be enough. Will be something like column names for the information below. So it's name, and for example, what we have here, like customer ID. So let me just add one more column here as well. So something really simple. Of course, you can add inner repeaters, add more grids, and make it really stand out if you need to or if you want to. But I will just save it. And now I will switch to the Resco mobile CRM application in online mode. And I will try to go to record. I have a specific command here, but I can change to a new incident, to a list of incidents, sorry, and run it. And basically we can see that there is a name, the name of the incident, and customer, name of the customer. And now let's check if I can run it in multiple records. And of course I can't because I haven't added it. So let's go to project. I will go to incident. I will go to my view. And since I want to run the report on multiple records, I go to multi-select, and I will add the run mobile report general command here. Save and close and publish. And because I changed the project, I of course need to synchronize. And when I go to my incidents again and use the multi-select, sorry, I can run mobile report. And I will select my list of incidents. And here you can also see a source. So now it's by default on selected, but you can also select all. So not only those 4 selected will be in the report, but all the records in that specific view. But I just want my selected. And you can see it's just a list of incidents and their parent account. So really, as simple as possible. Okay, we have touched the base for the project. So let's go back to the mobile project and see what are other options. So you don't even have to use the mobile select, but you can also use buttons. So if you want to run a report for a specific single record directly from the view, you can add run mobile reports from here as well. So let's do that. And since we are here, I will also show you the form. So if you go to edit commands, you can see I already have a couple of commands here. One of them is run mobile report for a specific report, but I also want to add a general one. And of course, if you want to use one specific, you just hit here and select which of the reports you want this command to run. Let's leave it like this and publish. Now, again, we change the project, so synchronize. And when I now hit a record, and sorry, here we have the run mobile. So for one specific record, and I have one predefined report already. So let's run it. So here it is, really simple. As you can see in my form, I have now 2 run mobile report commands. But if I go to commands here, I can only see one. I can't see this verified incident run mobile report. And this is because I have a on can execute rule on this command. So let's close it, which specifies that the report can be only run on a record that is in a status reason set to verified. If you came across how the on-can execute rule should be used, you know that first you need to specify for which command the rule is designed. So in the if, in the branch, you first need to specify a condition with the command name. So if I will leave it as this line, I can define the generic or the general run mobile report. So you can hide or show it whenever you want. But if you want to use this on can execute for a specific command or command for a specific report, sorry, you need to use command param string option. In this param string parameter, let's say you need to add value, the GUID of the record, of the reports record. I understand it's not partially user-friendly, but we are working on it so that you will be able to see this GUID on the report editor directly in the near future. But meanwhile, you need to go to the CRM backend and find the GUID. For example, on Resco Cloud, you just need to go to mobile report entity under manage data, and you can see the ID directly as the first item. You will probably see it like this when you open it, but you show system fields and you can see the GUID directly here. So if we specify the command and the parameter, we can now go to the actual logic that will be performed for that command. So I have a condition that if the status code or status reason equals verified, then this command, this specific run mobile report command will be visible to user. If it's the otherwise or else with empty, so otherwise if, let's say, so if the condition is other than verified, then my command is not shown. So as you can see, my incident here is in progress status reason, so I don't see my incident report. But if I go to a verified one, I can run the verified incident directly from here. Now my problem is that I have some not very readable name of the report. So now let's go to localization and try to change it. So I go back to localization, sorry, to my language, and all you need to do now is basically add a new item, and the ID should be name of the report. So in my case, the verified incident, and the label or string is what the user should be seeing. So let's call it report for verified incident. That's it, really simple. And if you want to change it later on, you can search for it and you can see it here. You can change the project name anytime you need. So I will save and close, publish. Of course, sync. And if I go now to my verified record, it's not working. I'm wondering why. Let's try it again. Probably some typo. Let's quickly fix it. Oh yeah, I can see now. So once again, you can't change the ID when it's created. So once again, verified capital I incident. Okay, finger crossed. Let's go again. Okay, here we have it. So report for verified incident. And you can see it here as well in the report selector. Okay, so that's for the first example. Okay, next example is for adding a variable for defining the visibility of a cell, and also a variable for adding a numbering for a child repeater. So I will go to my report designer. I will leave this new one. And now I will go to my order summary report that I created already. And here I have two grids with addresses. One is the shipping address, so address that is directly on my order entity. And the next one is basically a parent grid with billing address, so address from my account, from my parent account to this order. But I don't want to show both because sometimes you need to use shipping, sometimes you need to use billing address on the order report. So I would like my user to define based on the customer's preference. So I will now go to body, and I will add a variable that will be a Boolean. So yes, no option, and the name will be something like use shipping address instead of billing address question for the user. Okay, so whether to use shipping or billing address, so user can define. And how to make sure that user can define it before the report is generated. For this, you have option visible. So when I check the visible, it means that this variable can be defined on that report selector, so before the report is being generated. If I select also required, then user will need to change or enter the value to that variable before the report can be generated. But in this case, I just want to make it mandatory or user defined. So I just create it, save and close. And how to use it. So now I want my shipping address to be defined. So if user uses that yes, use shipping address instead of billing, or no, use billing instead of shipping. So which one should be placed where? So on the grid where we have the shipping address, I will go to visible, add my curly brackets, and now I basically need to enter the name of the variable. So I will cheat a bit. I have it here. So I will just paste it. So where to use? So this is the name of the variable. You can add the name of a field that is on the report. And in this case, if user will specify that yes, he will check this variable on the report selector, it will have the value 1, so the Boolean 1, and it will show this grid. If he leaves it empty as no, it will not use this shipping address grid at all. On the other side or opposite, I want to do the opposite for the billing address. Opposite in our scenario will be having an exclamation mark before the curly bracket. So this will make a negation of that variable value. So in this case, if the user selects yes, check it. it will be translated for this grid as 0, so it will not be displayed, and otherwise it will be shown. So hopefully I added the visible parameter correctly. So I will just save it and switch to the app. As you can see, I'm in the online mode, so it should be already available. So I will go to my order and run the order summary, and you can see I have now my variable here. So use shipping address instead of billing, no, so I would like to use the billing. Let's see if it works. Yes, so you can see it's only the billing address and the shipping is not on the report. Let's see if it works also the other way around. So once again, order summary, and now I want to use my shipping address instead of the billing. And voila, shipping address is used. So this one worked like a charm. Now let's go to a more complicated one. So how to add auto numbering or numbering for my order products. So I have a repeater with order products here already defined, but as you could see, let me just run it once again really quickly. If you can see, I just have a list of records or list of products, and I will need to count them or somehow find the way what is the number or which one is what. So I just want to add a numbering, auto numbering here. So number of lines. So let's go back here. So first of all, I will need to create on a body some kind of a holding variable that will hold the number of the repeater. So I will just go to edit sources and I will add a new decimal numbering body, let's say, variable. Okay. And I was also talking about some kind of on create a rule that will be running when the in this case when the body of the report is loaded. What I will use it for is that I will just initiate the variable to be assigned as 1. So it will not be empty at all. Now I need to go to my repeater and I have to create one more variable, again a decimal one. But this time I will call it numbering repeater decimal. Okay, and here is where the magic will be done. So first of all, I need to add the numbering repeater to be the same as my body. So for the first record, the numbering repeater will be having 1, because now the numbering body variable has 1 as starting point. And now, as a next step, I will increase the numbering body variable by 1. So I will just make an incremental rule, let's say. Okay. Okay, there we have it. And now I will just add the repeater, numbering repeater variable in my line for my details, same style. Okay, I will just save it, and it should be immediately available here. And yeah, so you can see my numbering is now available for all the line items that I have here. Okay, so what we have next? So next examples are for static and dynamic images. So once again, let's go back to my report designer. And I have a contact overview report where I have information about my contacts. This is a both type, so it can be used for a single or a list of records. But I just want to have a nice contact image here. For this, I will use an image from my contact record where I have a note. Let me just quickly show you, because I have a contact, and for each contact I have a picture, and I want to use it on the report itself as well. So what I will do is I will add an image, and you can see it's empty so far. So I have it. These images are saved as annotations to that contact entity, so I will leave it as annotation. And now I need to define the filter, so how to specify which picture should be used. So first of all, I need to add a condition that the object ID of that note, so of that annotation, will be the same as the contact that will be on the report. So the object ID needs to equal something, but I don't want to specify select the specific record here, because it should be different for each of the record that I want to run for a list of records, for example. So I can use a variable. This variable is basically a field from that report sources. So in my case, I will use the contact ID. So I want to load a node or an image from a node that is associated to the contact ID that is on the report. But what if I have more than one image? In this case, I add another condition. As I mentioned earlier, you can use a media type for that. I will get to that in a moment. So there is option to specify a subject to be a specific string. In my case, it is list image. Let me show you really quickly. If I go to record, there is media tab named contact image. But if I go to, if I go to nodes, the actual node title is list image. So this is what I will use in my report. List image. Okay. Save and close. I want to make it a bit bigger. And not only I want to add a dynamic image, but I also want to add a static image. For this, I need to go to my report, to my project, and in offline HTML, I have a picture called Resco PNG, which is a logo of Resco, of course, and I want to have it on my contact overview. So what I will do now is I will just go back to Report Designer, and I will add an image here. And I will just change the binding to constant, and I will add the name of the image as a binding, and that's it. And I will overlay this this item over my contact card name, because the contact card name is centered in the middle. And okay, let's see how it works. So if I go now back to my contact, I can run the mobile report. And we can see it's not that nice at all, but let's fix it a bit. So first of all, I will just need to do this like this, so that this part will be also covered by the image and the background. And also I need to change this style to the same as here, but the one below. And let's run it again. Or better, let's run it here as a multi-select. And this time we can run it on all records. Maybe this wasn't that clever in online mode, having all the pictures being fetched. But here we are. So we have a logo, we have my pictures that I wanted here as well. So something like this. Okay, let's move to the next example. And that is adding a datetime variable and use it somehow, and also to use aggregation. For this, I will again use one of reports I have already created. And this is, I call it account overview. So some overview of account with information about the account itself in a grid. With repeater, so associated contacts, something similar to my contact card. Also repeater of associated incidents, and inner repeater of appointments that are associated to my incidents, and child repeater of orders that are associated to my account. What I would like to show you is go to a repeater. Let's check. Yeah, I have created a variable called now. This now basically has will be added a date and time when the report is being run. The idea behind this is that this now variable that has the actual date and time will be used in my let's say child repeater of appointments. So I will not show all the appointments associated to incidents, associated to account, but only those that will be in the future. So for this, in the repeater, in its source, so in the appointment, by default, there will be only the first line created automatically. So only appointments regarding the incident will be added. But I also added one more condition where the schedule starts will be on or after my now variable. So only those that start from now or in the future. So how it looks like is that if I go to my account, and I run the account overview, and I go to my incidents, I can see that for this incident there are 2 more appointments waiting for me, and there are a couple incidents without time or without appointments in the future. But let's say we want to give user the opportunity to define the time for which the appointment should be added to this overview. So let's go back, and now I will add a datetime variable on the body. let's call it user defined date time, and make it visible. Okay. But what happens if we just add it there? We have no way how to do it, because sorry, how to add it to the filter or to the conditions. But since we are using the onCreate, or we already have a now variable with some logic, we can do it the way. That's not sorry. I don't save it, of course. So let's call it. Let's just make it simple. Save and close. So what I will do now is in my sorry, right here in my repeater, for now, I will not use the set now possibility, but I will use my date time to replace or to use it instead of current date and time, because I already have the now defined in the filter. I don't have to change it. I will just use it this way. So if I run the report again, oh no, okay, my bad. Of course. So once again, so date and time. Let's say I want to see also last week's appointments, or appointments that started also before, and let's run it. So I should now see more appointments, or also appointments for incidents that didn't have appointments before. Let's scroll down, and you can see what we can see. Oh, here we can see that we have also older appointments here as well. So that worked again. I'm glad. Okay, and one more example was for aggregation. Let's say I want to also see number of order products. So not only some order. Let's go here. Not only some order information, but also number of products. Sorry, let's go back to the report. I will just run it and go back. So sorry, I also want to see number of products. I don't need to see all the products listed. I just want to see how many products were in that particular order. It should be loaded already. So let's say I have two orders. One had 8 products, one had 12 products. This can be done as an aggregation on the fetch itself. Sorry, not this fetch, but of course the orders. So on the repeater. So I have a custom fetch for sales order details item, so order products. Of course, using child repeater or defining a custom one. So my sales order ID needs to be sales order details ID needs to be the same as the sales order, so the parent one. And here I can use aggregate, and I can count the number of lines, number of IDs that will be in my fetch. So since I am only fetching the order products associated to this order, I need just count the rows that are fetched. So basically like this. I just want to warn you because this aggregate can create kind of a load on the CRM in online mode or in the mobile application. And if you want to use some more complex aggregates or more aggregates for one fetch, or if you expect many records to be returned in that fetch, to use the fetch table and fetch table lookup, as it will not make a fetch for each of the order item, but it will just send one fetch and get the result directly. So more effective one. But in my scenario, I just have a small number of records and orders and order items, so it's not that bad at all. And one of the maybe last example I want to show you is how to add, enhance signature. So one of the new features, I will need to go to my incident report, so my verified incident, and here you can see I already have an annotation, an image. This is a dynamic image, so a signature of a technician that was signing the incident, so the verified one that is ready to be solved, ready to be deactivated and selected as saved, solved one. But I also want to add a customer signature, and the customer doesn't want to sign just a blank canvas. He wants to sign an actual report. So what I need to do is I will just add a signature here into my item, and I enable the option enhance signature. That's basically it. I don't need to add more. I can add some comment information. I can add some binding and some more, let's say, strings to more text to that signing area on the report. But I just want to add a simple single signature here. So I just save it and go to my incidents, find the verified one. Okay, I have a text signature already done. Now run the report. So now you can see there are two parts on the screen, not only the actual report with the text signature already, but also some kind of a canvas for the customer to sign the generated report. So let's say I sign it, submit the signature, and my signature of the customer is added there. There you can see it. If it was wrong, you can change it. And it will be generated using the new one as well. So you can also see the signature here. So it's saved as an image, so you can use it for later use if needed as well. So we are approaching the end finally. I hope you enjoyed it at least as much as I did. And I think that my colleagues already answered probably all of them. Let's see if we have some that needs to be answered. or not. Okay, so my colleagues just informed me that they answered all of your questions. So if you have some more, I will give you a couple moments to add additional questions. But I will also move on. Oh, sorry. So, sorry, my bad. I was checking the questions if there is something more. So no questions asked. Or at least I can't see any more. So some more. But I can't see them. Oh, I can see them now. Okay. So legally binding signatures, how does it work? Okay, you basically just add the sign, the empty one, to the report, and you need to go to the mobile application, to application setup, and specify the account for Universign or DocuSign to use with. And then the application will use your account at one of these services to add the signature item when the report is generated. So basically, it's a more complex scenario, and it's basically it has multiple levels what the user needs to do. So I think there needs to be also a mobile phone number where you verify yourself, you add the signature, and then it will be sent to the to both or all signees for that report. Is it possible to test somehow the reports? I'm not sure how you mean how to test it. Okay, basically what I did, so you can use online mode, and once you make a change in the report designer and save the report, you can directly run the report on the mobile application. So basically a trial and error, because if you would like to run the mobile report in the designer, it will be, I think, much more cumbersome, because you have the Windows application and you can use it directly there. So I have a report called report for entity accounts. I run the report and save it in two different accounts. It will create two different records of the report, or they were created on the user device. If you have one report design or one report created in the report designer and you run the report on two different accounts, it will create a report for each of the accounts. It will be, you can save it as a node attachment, for example, or as an attachment in Salesforce, or as a cloud document, so on SharePoint or Google Drive, Dropbox, or OneDrive, and therefore synchronize it across all devices or users that have access to that one account with the attachments as well. Yeah, you will get the recording probably tomorrow as a part of the course for Report Designer. I will get to that later on. Okay, one more question. Can I generate a report, sign it, and directly send it to one of the contacts used within the account, for example? For this, you will need to use JavaScript because the run mobile report command doesn't. Oh, sorry, my bad. No, you don't need to use JavaScript. Let me just show you. When you run a report, you have the options for specific actions. So you can, no, sorry, my bad. You can only export save. So yeah, you will need to use JavaScript basically to create a custom command, and the user using that custom command, the user will use that custom command, and the JavaScript behind will generate the report and create the email record with predefined recipient, and the user will just enter some body text and send it. But for example, if you will use DocuSign, then one of the features of the DocuSign or Universign, so the legally binding signatures, is that each of the signees will need to receive the copy of the signed document. So you will be able to define one signee as a user, and using the user's record email address, and for example a contact record, and the service will send the signed document copy to the user's email and to the contact's email. Okay, I think that was it. No more questions currently. Okay, so we have, as you may know, we already have Academy, where you can learn more about Resco's technology and features, and you will be able to use also the Report Designer course, where you will see, I'm not sure if everything, but at least more than I showed you, and get your knowledge deepened. Sorry, and you will have step-by-step guides. Well, basically, just visit the report, visit Academy and see for yourself, and also get more courses done, learn more. You can also get certified so that you can show that you are more knowledgeable than your colleagues or customers or partners or whoever you want to compete with, or even our sales guys or technical people in Resco. What you need to do is just go to Resco Academy and create your account. So create new account, log in, and then go to the technical part. If you want to go for the Report Designer, go to Report Designer course and get through the chapters, take a quiz, and after successfully finishing, you will get a badge. You can get a badge for every course, and you can also get certified if you get through all the courses that are needed for certification. We of course encourage you to take the courses, to learn more, or even to just make sure that you know everything already, and let us know if you have some feedback on the Academy or on the course itself. One more thing I want to mention is that you can book one-on-one consultation for this webinar with me, or perhaps with one of my colleagues if there will be more people interested. What you need to do is to download the Resco mobile CRM application to your device for any platform, of course, and then you just need to run the application, go through the tutorial or skip it, Then select internal user, scan QR code, and just scan this QR code to the mobile application. You don't have to make snippets of the screen right now. You can just download the presentation directly from the GoToWebinar application, and or you will be able to download it, or you will receive it after the webinar. Or just let me know, or let us know if you need it later on. After you scan the QR code to synchronize, you will see an application as on the left side. Go to book consultation, enter the information that you need to consult with, and just send it, save it, and we will review and get in touch with you with the time slot and reservation and link to Teams meetings. Thank you very much for your attendance. I hope you're not bored and that you enjoyed the webinar, and I hope that we will see each other soon, and if not in person, then definitely at least in another webinar. Thank you very much. Have a nice rest of the day or evening. Bye.